Welcome back to the Lean IPD Deep Dive. I'm James Pease, and I've got 20 years in the design and construction business as an owner's representative, primarily working on healthcare projects. I have a true passion for integrated project delivery and have been fortunate to work on over 20 projects over a 10-year period. Today, we're going to dive into the risk and reward plan. This is probably my favorite part of integrated project delivery negotiations at the beginning of a project, and one of the things that truly sets integrated project delivery apart from other construction delivery models. So we're going to talk about how do you set a risk and reward plan. And I've broken it down into a couple of pieces because it's not one thing to think about. There's various levers that you can employ to set the right risk reward plan for your project. So I want to be clear that all projects are different and therefore they should have different plans. And I'll finish at the end with a recommended standard plan. If you don't know what to do with your first project, I could recommend a simple plan, and then you can experiment as you go. So this is what I've come up with over 20 different negotiations and how I think about putting a risk and reward plan together. So setting a quick baseline here, let's assume that we've got our contract value. So design and construction team, they've estimated all of their costs. You've got a set design and you're ready to negotiate the final deal and sign everybody up for this risk and reward plan. So you've got your cost. You've got some contingency amount, which we cover another video about how to set that contingency, and then profit set out on top. So in our integrated project delivery plan, our team has agreed to put 100% of their profit at risk. In exchange for putting that profit at risk, they want some kind of upside, hence the reward part of the plan. So when we're thinking, how much should we reward the team for excellent performance on the project? That this one is specifically going to focus on cost savings. We can explore incentives in another video that could be based on key performance indicators such as safety or RFI turnaround, submittal turnaround, things like this. But this is a risk reward plan that's based on the overall financial outcome of the project, and I found that it works really well to pull everyone together. So I look at the contingency percentage. So if a team is looking for 6 or 7% contingency, then I'm not going to be interested in sharing a lot of the shared savings with them, because that's, in my experience, that's generally a pretty large contingency. If they have a much smaller contingency, say 3%, then the team is taking more risk. They're putting their profit at risk faster, so I might be willing to give a larger percentage of any shared savings. I also look at the design status or the design stage. So if we're in schematic design, I like to set a little bit higher contingency, but I also like to offer a larger shared savings for the team. And the reason I do that is I believe the team has the most ability to affect the outcome of the cost of a project, probably in the first 20 to 30% of schematic design. Then they get another big chance in the beginning of design development to affect the cost. Once you're into construction documents, the team has very little control of actually driving the cost down, and then it's more about making sure you've got everything figured out so that you don't actually lose your contingency once you get into construction. So earlier in design, I share more of the savings. If I'm setting it later, design's established, the trades have been bid out, then I'm going to share less of the savings. The shared savings percentage. So this is another lever that you can use. So if you have less contingency, I'm looking to share more of the savings. So let's say we have a 3% contingency, then I'd say I'll share 80% of the shared savings. And if the contingency is larger, then I would say maybe I'll only share 20% of any shared savings. And so what I'm trying to toggle is I want the team to be aggressive with their numbers. I want them to have a contingency that protects their profit and also protects us from an overrun. So If we go through the profit in this integrated project delivery model, then the owner is paying all additional costs. So we want the team to be accurate with these numbers, but we want them to do everything they can not to spend the contingency. The way to do that is to offer them a shared savings. So the smaller band of contingency, the more shared savings I will usually give. And the reason I think about that is I've already taken some of the contingency back. So if I reduce a contingency from 5% to 3%, that 2% comes back to the owner into an owner contingency. And so therefore I'm willing to split more of any savings on the 3% that's left. And then a more advanced topic is hurdles and caps. And so what I mean by that is some risk reward plans will be set up, say you have a 5% contingency. They may say, we're not going to share any savings on the first 2%. That's there to protect your profit, but we're not going to split it if you don't need it because that's a healthy contingency. But we'll split, say, 80% of the last 3%. So the first 2% savings all go back to the owner. The next 3% savings, 80% goes to the team, and they could go even lower. The second concept here is a cap. So I would usually like to have a cap on shared savings to protect me from either an error or somebody who's purposely estimating high. And so what that would look like is we may say, we'll share 50% of any unused contingency with the team until the team has doubled their profit. If they've doubled their profit, then all additional savings on the project go back to the owner. So I've typically seen shared savings capped at either 50% enhanced profit or 100% enhanced profit. Somewhere in there. I'd always recommend having a cap. In the 20 projects I've worked on, 2 of them have exceeded the cap, and that money accrued back to the owner. And in both cases, it was because of an egregious estimating error. It wasn't really the team excelling that they came up with that much savings. So I'd highly recommend having a cap in your plan. It's fairly easy to negotiate with the team, because when the team is putting the numbers together, they never assume that they're going to be 10 or 15% under budget. So if you offer that and say, well, what's a reasonable cap? Then I find that the team will generally say, look, if we can save 5%, we'll be lucky. Let's split it 50-50. It's going to end up being, 50% more profit than we would have gotten, and we'll look at that as a win-win for everyone on the team. So in summary, the risk-reward plan is really what binds the team together. If the team goes over budget, they're losing their profit. Nobody wins in that scenario. The owner ends up paying more than they expected. Where everybody wins is when we don't use all of the contingency and we share in the savings. So number one, as an owner, your project is finished on budget, which is the most important thing. But there's also some savings returning back to the owner while the team is getting some. So in one case, I wrote a $500,000 bonus check to the project team, and I got $500,000 back. Now me went back to my company. In that case, we spent most of our $500 to enhance the project. So that means we increased some of the finish quality, we bought some equipment, so we put all that money back in. And so you could say the team got a $500,000 bonus on top of their profit, and the owner got $500,000 in enhanced value, and the rest of the project got built right for their budget. So a quick summary, I generally find profit works out to about 6% of the overall contract value. Contingency works out to about 4%. So the easiest risk reward plan you can set is, say, we're going to share any amount of savings that's left, and we'll split it 50-50. 50% to the project team, 50% to the owner, and we're going to cap it when the team has doubled their profit. So that's a wrap on this high-level overview of risk and reward plans. In a follow-up video, I'll show you on the board some actual examples of risk-reward plans used on previous projects. So don't forget to hit subscribe, and comment below if there's something else you'd like to see covered.